Welcome back into Prospect, Produce, Prosper. I'm John Jaggay, joined again by Marc Rogers from Producers Prospect. Welcome back, Marc. Good to be with you.
Thanks, John. Always good to be here. I'm really excited about this episode. Let's dive right in.
Why don't you go ahead and introduce today's guest?
For all of our listeners and followers, we've had some other large advisors already on the podcast. We've been really starting with the fact that it's difficult today, more difficult than it's ever been to not only get in front of new prospects, but to organize and be more efficient in our business and look at ways to be cutting edge and stay in front of the competition. And today I'm joined with a longtime friend, Skip Johnson, who has done all of those things very successfully in his own right and has made multiple career moves and figured out how to adapt and evolve and get in front of clients. He's never been afraid to try new things. And so I'm really excited to see where this conversation goes, because if you're like me, I like to attend industry events, and I always like when they put up on stage the biggest producers of those organizations and they share their best practices. And so today I wanted to bring on Skip Johnson, as he's been a juggernaut in the financial services industry at a very, very young age. And he's built a successful practice. And I wanted to really talk to him today about what was the difference maker and what could he really give back to the industry as it relates to ideas and help the next generation of advisors that are walking into this business. So Skip, thanks for being here, man. And thanks for doing this.
Yeah, man, it's great to join you after that buildup. I hope I have some value for your listeners, but we're going to have fun talking about our experience. We've worked together for a long time, had some fun and had some success.
Every single time I'm with you, Skip, I've picked up, nuggets that I've used with other advisors. And so why don't you give everybody just a quick background on you, how you got into the financial services industry, a little bit about the practice that you built. Why don't you kick us off with your story?
Yeah, thanks, Marc. I jumped into the financial services industry when I was probably 23 years old. I'd been in the mortgage business before that, 2008. My wife and I were in a spot that we were in debt. We wanted to work hard. We'd done kind of the Dave Ramsey thing. And out of our own, let's say, pain of having experienced the ups and downs of the industry, we wanted to live our life in a different way, with margin, with reserves, with, getting out of bad debt. And, I'd always been pretty good at connecting and selling to business owners. And so that led into the opportunity to join that industry. Then I started purely in the insurance world. I worked for a group that we do seminars all over the state. I'm in Minnesota, in the Minneapolis area. And it was a busy life. I was driving, traveling, speaking. I look back now and I wonder why people were listening to a 24-year-old, at seminars, but it just shows it can be done. You got to have the boldness to go do it. At some point in there, I met some folks on a top producer event, and I realized people came to see them. They didn't have to go sit at kitchen tables all over the state. They didn't have to do 50,000 miles a year in a car. And it started the wheels spinning toward launching my own business. And that was 2012. Myself and another gentleman who worked at the old company, we decided to start our own business, which became Great Waters Financial. And Great Waters had an incredible run. It still is. They're a great group of individuals. But from 2012 until my exit, when I sold to my partners last year, we'd gone over $1 billion of assets. We had 50 some team members in 5 locations. We had thousands of individuals that we were serving as clients and families. We'd had several $100 million of annuities that helped those clients in their plan. And, really we built a great business focusing on helping clients have a plan that gave them confidence, helping clients live beyond money. It isn't just about dollars in the bank. It's about what's that money for? What are their dreams about? And we used to use this phrase, live greatly. If we can take care of the money worries, how can we help people move beyond that to really, what do I think I'm on this earth to do? And how do I serve people well or fulfill that purpose well? This was quite a run there. I think we made the Inc. 5000 list 5 years in a row. We made the Minnesota Fast 50, fastest 50 growing companies in the state. We made that 5 years in a row. We were the fastest growing financial services firm in Minnesota a few years. It was a great run. We'll talk a little bit, Marc, about what we did well in that. You also know some of the experiences. We were running and gunning so hard that I got a bit burned out, and my wife and I decided to eventually make the bold step to step into what was new, reprioritize kind of life and balance and value of family. And so I did make that shift, but man, I'm a huge fan of what we built. And they still care for a lot of incredible families that we worked with over those years.
Skip, and getting to know you through Marc a little bit, I know that one of your big focuses is on the planning piece of this. And that's kind of something you've held on to throughout your career as you bounce in these different areas. And the fact that planning is the key, not the product you're selling, right?
Absolutely. You know, as we're recording this, we're in the midst of volatile markets, right? Everything's down. The stock market's down. There's uncertainty in Russia and Ukraine. And so what do you do in the midst of that? I think a product is not a plan. And so I would suggest that it's really, really important that your clients feel seen, heard. They know that you understand their goals, their risk tolerance, what they value, and then you build a plan that, of course, involves products to fit their needs. It's somewhat like that Maslow's hierarchy of needs. If you remember, food and shelter, long before we get to self-actualization. Well, giving people a plan, which of course annuities and other income generating assets can do, that can give you consistency, can give you cash flow, can help you accomplish your goals, is going to make your clients better investors as they stay in their seats during times of volatility. And they understand that you've got their back. They're far less likely to be looking around and panic in times of volatility when they know there's a plan and it wasn't just a sales pitch.
I love that, because I think that you talk about the volatility we've seen in the market. We're recording this on May 16th of 2022, and we've seen a lot of volatility lately. And if you sell on that performance, you're going to have people maybe looking and say, oh, my portfolio is not doing so great. But if your selling point and what you've, created a bond with this client over is the plan and not the actual performance, that's going to be what hangs on to them. I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. And this volatility, I would say, look at it as an opportunity. As things are tumultuous, as things are all up in the air, that gives us incredible opportunities to go out there and be a marketer, go out there and make some noise. Because, Marc and Jag, there's this old story Zig Ziglar used to talk about. It was two guys are sitting on their porch. This old hound dog is whining and whining and whining. And the one old boy says, "What's wrong with the dog?" And he goes, "Well, I fixed the porch today and he's sitting on a nail." And the other guy goes, "Well, why doesn't he move?" And, this old boy goes, "Well, I guess it doesn't hurt him bad enough." And that is the reality, I guess it didn't hurt bad enough. A lot of people have been unhappy with their financial advisor, or unhappy with the lack of having a plan, or generally some, malaise or dis-ease of what's going on in the markets or the government or printing money. But it hadn't been bad enough for a lot of people to want to move. And right now, that is not the case. People are saying, what's out there? I'm afraid. I'm looking. I'm ready to look for something different because I'm getting the same old song and dance. And we've been there before, got the t-shirt. I remember 2001. I remember 2008. Marc, you got a solution, right? So it's a great time to be out there as a marketer, as a thought leader, to be out promoting a strategy and a plan. So now's the time to not back off. It's actually the time, I would say, to be bumping it up given this environment.
Yeah, I always like to tell advisors, you only keep the clients that you call, right? So what kind of touch points, and as research tells us, more and more investors are not only expecting their advisors to be communicating with them constantly. I mean, your top A clients want you to reach out to them multiple times a month. They expect that not only are you going to reach out to them, but they don't want an article that you forward to them in Forbes by somebody else, right? Oh, hey, go read this article. The expectation now more than ever is, if my advisor is Skip, Skip should be the one delivering me the information. They feel like if they're going to pay you a fee or you're going to make a commission on the investments that you are managing, well, then you should be the ones educating, staying on top of mind, staying in front of them. So how did you kind of manage that, Skip, especially in difficult times, turbulent times with investors? How did you manage your book? And what are some things that you would tell people to say, hey, this is what you should be doing now?
Yeah, I love that question. And of course, there's no magic bullet. There's a lot of things you can be doing and they have a cumulative effect. And so one of those, if I were to have a point right now, it's be a marketer. And as you were kind of saying, Marc, be a thought leader. So one of the areas we did well is, I was on a local Fox affiliate on the news, 8:30 Wednesday mornings, and did that for years, for like 8 years. Now, getting on the news once, that doesn't immediately make your phone start ringing. Definitely people did call us, but it starts to build credibility. It starts to build your presence in a community. It starts to build that, wow, Skip and team must know what they're talking about. They must be credible. Eventually, when Tom and Alex, waking up with Fox 9, they were the names of the local anchors, we developed a real friendship. We became and developed some sort of local kind of celebrity by being consistent and being out there. Those things then have a compounded effect when you then go do a seminar and people have seen you before. They turned on the news and they've seen you. They've read an article from you, or you build out various drip campaigns, which of course your company can help with, where, I get an article in a financial publication and I'm making a point. I think right now, investors do not want wishy-washy answers. They actually want somebody to lead with strength and have an opinion on various things. I might be wrong, but I'm not going to just wishy-washy about various things. I may take a stance on what do I believe about crypto? What do I think is going to happen to a portfolio in a raising interest environment? What is inflation going to do to my portfolio? And even be bold enough as to put it out there and have people see you consistently over time. And it has an incredibly exponential effect over time. So there was that aspect. We were out there, we were planning. In our planning, we documented everything really, really well. Okay. So what does that mean? It's just make sure you take notes. If they brought up their, the trip they want to go on, they brought up how they want to, their daughter's going to this school. This is going to happen. So every time we're catching up, hey, you're still going to buy the cabin, build the cabin. We're in Minnesota. Lake life is important. And then touching base and talking about how, use the power of technology, use things like, these Monte Carlo simulations that can show that their portfolio is still just fine to accomplish their goals. So keep it personalized, be out there, let them know that you are somebody who knows something about something. It really matters. And then empathize with the fear they're experiencing. So don't be just the smart dude who's going to use big words. Connect with them and go, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, I hear you. I completely understand why you'd be nervous right now. It's not fun, but empathizing with them and then saying, but I think we should stick with this, or because of that, we're going to do X, Y, or Z. It is really important in tumultuous times to still empathize and connect in an important way.
Another thing you talk about a lot, Skip, I think, is having an alternative as well, and realizing that you have clients that might have differing needs and different preferences too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been somebody who personally has invested in real estate for a long time. Clients would come in and, I believed in real estate, but didn't have great options to present to people. But, the world is shifting. If you were to just kind of have advisors wake up right now and realize the democratization of the investing industry is happening. Look at the rise of Robinhood, the Reddit bros, Coinbase, crypto.com arena, all of that stuff. Airbnb, VRBO is making it easier for people to invest and monetize different stuff outside of us. So what we can't do is we can't stick our heads in the sand and not realize that people want to invest in crypto, in alternative investments like real estate. So that's another spot I would say, instead of ignoring it or just ripping on it, pretending it doesn't exist, realize there's something there. People are seeing it all over. They have either fear of missing out, fear of loss. It's being marketed to like crazy. The Staples Center, Marc, we both like to watch some basketball. It's not the Staples Center anymore. It's crypto.com arena. So anytime you watch a game when the Lakers play, they're going to see crypto.com on the top, right? So we almost can't escape this stuff. And so having a conversation to talk to them, to be a proactive person about how could they integrate various things like that into a portfolio, or just have a good, fun conversation with them, is going to give you relevance in this kind of crazy market where people I get it, right? They're just sort of begging, what's going to be different? The annuity is different. Cash flowing real estate is different. A conversation about, they just don't want the same old because they've been there, done that, got the t-shirt. So proactive thought leader. That's why we launched a real estate fund, right?
I would be remiss as a native of Boston. You mentioned t-shirts, that the Lakers did not make the playoffs this year and the Celtics have just advanced to the Eastern Conference Finals. Just have to throw it out there and I'll let you two of you get back to it.
I'm from a little town called Hibbing, Minnesota, and Kevin McHale and I went to the same high school. I've had a long affinity with Boston Celtics. So
win-win.
Skip, I know that we're getting close on time, but I wanted to make sure that, there was a couple of takeaways from this particular podcast. And that one is, whether you're 20 something years old or whether you're a longtime veteran, there's always ways that we can get better, and that we have to, number one, have a plan, have a goal to achieve that. And sometimes it's just going on faith and trust in yourself, right? If I put you in front of a big group of people, can you excel at making them like you and trust you and sit down with you? And then can we convert those particular investors or people? And can we grow a practice and a business? And again, I applaud you, because multiple times I've seen in your life that you just have taken on these difficult, trials and being able to grow and expand and achieve all the things. And you've still maintained a beautiful family. And so hats off to you. And you are somebody in my life that not only do I look up to you, but I think as an industry or a thought leader in your own right. And I'm excited to have you back and really have this as kind of meeting number one in a long stream of podcasting and do more things together. But I appreciate what you've done for the industry, and certainly want to continue to grow the relationship with you and really give back and watch others grow by your success. So thank you for spending time. What would you say to that brand new advisor as they come into the business? Give them some words of process and maybe give them a couple of nuggets.
Yeah. Let's start with, what's my why? And one of my whys is my wife, Amy. It's my daughters, Selah, Ariella, Haven. Marc, I know for you, it's you and Stacy. It's your kids. And keeping that front and center, I would say build a business that fits your life, not try to build your life around your business. So keep your priorities front and center. If there was any areas that I erred over the years, it was at times letting the business become my identity instead of letting it fuel my purpose. And so that one's maybe philosophical, but it's so important to say, keep the main thing the main thing.
Yep, so true.
Second, I guess I would just tell people, get out there. What did Great Waters do better than almost anybody else? 99% of what we did was the same as many other folks do, right? It's, tax loss harvesting, it's Roth conversions, it's planning. We put it together in a very systemized, orderly way so that we could deliver consistent results to our clients. And I think that was important. You have to have a good product at the end of the day you're delivering. But we got out there and we were willing to promote it. We were willing to spend the money. We were willing to take the risk. And because when we sat down with people, I didn't have to have some perfect dog and pony show. I actually cared tremendously about the people that I was working with. Those folks weren't just numbers on a balance sheet. It was, I'll use real names. It was Joel and Treva. It was Marc and Tammy. Those were real people where I knew their story because I connected with them, I understood them, and I wanted to help them. And I believe if when you're out there, when you're marketing, when you're promoting, when you're in the marketplace, if people know that you know what you're talking about and they know that you care, all you have to do is go do more and more of that, care for more people and market more, and you're going to be just fine. And it will work. And that might sound a little like, oh, easy for him to say they built $1 billion RIA, but that was literally the formula, was just keep going out there, love on people, keep growing ourselves and our ability and our to be ready to help as many people to the best of our ability as possible.
Again, like I said, I think that those are all strong points and things that whether you're a senior veteran or somebody brand new, things that we can look into our practice and more fully develop and become, right? And it all starts with step one, which is reaching out to me. One of the ways that I've seen you leverage is leveraging other professionals in the industry. And so, I always appreciated when you called upon me to say, hey, Marc, what's some of that latest research? What should we be sharing with our investors? Like I always jumped at opportunities like that.
Absolutely.
Sometimes we as advisors, we get so stuck in our way in our process that we don't look outside to other professionals and take that chance, right? And so I'm so grateful that you're on here. Jag, what are your thoughts? As you've looked at other industries, how important is it today, that we should be communicating with people?
Communication is everything. Marketing is everything. Making that emotional connection with your prospective client and having that bond with them that's going to stick throughout, even through tough times, is just so important, whether, like you said, Marc, we're talking about the financial industry or anything.
Absolutely. And Marc, I actually want to thank you as you helped us so much over the years. You had thought pieces, you came and spoke at events. You're one of the few that I've ever seen that's willing to jump on a plane and go help people out to help them grow their business, uniquely build it around them. And so thank you for that help in the past. Man, it was an incredible experience getting to work alongside with you so many years.
Well, I like to say, when you get kneecap to kneecap with people and show them that you care, even at my position now of running Producers Prospect, I think I've put something like 50 plus nights so far in a Marriott property. So I'm not afraid to get down in the trenches. I feel like some of these major IMOs that were built back in the 1900s have almost lost the value of getting in the trenches. And I feel like the further and further away from the sale that I get, then I'm going to lose touch. So I don't know if it's a way of just staying as close as I can possibly to the street. But, I feel like people don't know, how much you care until you're there. You're involved in their practice. And that's truly what I value is being at the point of sale, being in the trenches with you. And I've always appreciated that you allowed me to do that with you. And I want to do that with others. So, all I would say is, listen to the podcast, reach out to me, reach out to Skip if you want to more fully develop your practice. He's always open to helping and giving ideas. And that's the type of advisors that I want to work with.
Contact info for Marc and Skip will be in our show notes. Thank you both for the time. We'll talk again soon.
Thanks, guys.
Have a great day.